Okie dokie. Good morning, beautiful people of Earth. How are we doing? Do. I am a little bit late. That's because me and my lovely success story today, we are both having really bad headaches. So we're definitely in sync, which is crazy. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful earth. I love your shirt. I love you. Thank you. I love you all too. Hi, Shrishti. How's it going? Oh my goodness. I have not had such a bad headache in a while. I lost a job and applied your teachings, and now I'm employed. Yay! Snaps for my lovely person there. Love you, Persis. Thank you. I love you too. Okay, I'm going to have my gentleman give me a call. We have a health success story today, and he is going to talk to us. Was missing your lives. I know. I haven't been on lives in a hot minute. Can you hear me? Hang on.
I can hear you crystal clear.
Perfect. I can hear you too. Awesome. Oh my goodness. I haven't heard your voice in ages. This is nice.
I know. Well, I hear yours on those voice drops, but it's nice to talk to you. It's nice to talk to you live, though. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time.
Are we just alone right now?
We are not. We do have other people, but I can pause it and we can talk if you want to.
Oh, no, I'm good, I think. Okay. I wrote down some notes just to go over the 5 bullet points, and you want to keep it to the point. You might have to reel me in because you know me. No, I like to elaborate on things.
No, that's okay. I'm excited for this. No, it's okay.
I laughed when I got that last one. You're like, I might have to really get in back to the bullet points, and I'm laughing. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
You probably will.
That's funny. No, because some people, I don't know, I feel like it's hit and miss. Like some people love a long live, and other people are like, get to the point, Persis. And I'm like, okay, we're going to try to stick to the points, but we're going to keep all the important points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard to please everybody. I'm a detail guy, and a storyteller, so I learned that from my grandma. I was brought up that way, so that's a trait that I have from her. And when I tell things that happen to me or what's going on, I always paint a picture in people's mind. It's just something I do. And I've had friends and people tell me, just get to the point. What are you going to tell a story for? I'm like, you know what? That's the way I am. If you don't like it.
Yeah, you don't like it, too bad. I feel the same way. I feel like that's why we connected, because I am very much a storyteller. And people are like, you're just taking too long to get to the point. I'm like, you know what? If you don't like it, you can leave, It's also an option. But oh my goodness, I'm excited for us to begin at least. So I already have some individuals in the chat. We have about 70-ish, God, if I can only speak, people with us right now, and I'm sure that more people will kind of trickle in and out. So why don't we just start in the very beginning, because I actually didn't get an opportunity to kind of introduce you fully. I was a little too distracted in the chat. So why don't you just kind of give the people a baseline understanding of basically, let's just start from the very, very beginning, which is when you contacted me with your health ailments and where you were and what was that process like. And obviously you sought out coaching. And yeah, let's just start from the top, basically. So that way people have a good understanding.
I think it was I'm trying to remember when it was when I first initially reached out to you. I'm thinking it was around April, May-ish of last year.
I think so too.
Because I think it was in April when I went to the doctor and for a infected toothache, and then I found out at that visit that I had a blood clot, which was crazy. Mm-hmm. That was in April.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how long after that did I
I have those dates. Yeah, I have them somewhere. I'll scroll while you talk. How about that? I'll do that part of it. I'll do the technical part, and you can do the storytelling.
Okay. I can give like a ballpark rendition of it because I don't remember the exact dates. But I found out that I had a blood clot in my right leg, which was shocking to me. That was like the last thing in the world I expected to hear. And then they told me on top of that it most likely was cancerous. So that was a double whammy.
Yeah.
So then they had to do some more blood work. And I think I was waiting in that little interim between the blood work, waiting for the results of the blood work, I talked to you.
Yeah.
And I told you everything. And then you told me how to, what you suggested to me was how to put into words like affirmations and assumptions of the blood clot was cleared up, it was gone, or it wasn't cancerous. That was the number one thing.
Yeah.
So then we had that real good initial coaching call. We talked. Health was, I think, the focus on that call pretty much.
It was, yeah. Because I remember you came to me and you were like, this is quite literally a life or death scenario. I can't work. I can't do anything right now. And you were like, I just want to give it a good go. And if I'm not mistaken, we followed up a little bit in chat, which I was, totally open to. And I even gave you a little meditation, if you remember.
Yeah, you did. We did do a lot of texting, chatting, whatever, back and forth. Soon after the initial phone call. Then you gave me some things to say and things to focus on and things to assumptions. And so I focused on everything that you said. And it's funny because I already was into Neville Goddard and all that. I came from the Law of Attraction group, The Secret.
Yeah.
And then I found out about Neville Goddard and, I was kind of knew that information, but I didn't. I don't know. It's kind of funny, it's almost like information overload. You know a lot about it, but then the coaching is what helped me be more precise about it, how to use it to get results.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, yeah. So then how to apply it, I guess. So then I did everything you said and was using the assumptions and the affirmations, thinking positive and focusing on that. And then I went back, I think it was like a week later, and got the test results, and I was cancer-free, and I was elated about that.
Yeah.
Because they were really, they were pretty adamant about thinking at the time when they initially gave me the diagnosis that it was cancer and all this kind of stuff. They scared me.
Yeah.
So, and it quite could, and it could have went the other way easily, I think, if I wouldn't have, talked to you and got my mind right.
Yeah. I want to pop in for a quick moment because I did find the screenshots. So you came to me. Well, actually, your coaching began. Let's see. The first screenshot I have is I think you got coaching from me on like May 18th, because then I have a screenshot that says May 21st. And you said about 3 to 4 days later, I've already received some major improvements, noticeable, impressive improvements, and that my methods were solid and I know how to get people results. And then May 25th, which was just 4 days later, you're like, the lab report said I'm cancer-free. I have no blood clot disorder. I do have to go back in 6 months for a recheck, but that, you were basically the epitome of health at that point, like night and day compared to what you were when you began, at least.
Oh, yeah. Well, excuse me. The improvement that you mentioned was my right foot was really swollen.
Right.
Like way bigger than it normally is. I couldn't even put a shoe on. It was so swollen. And that went down soon after I talked to you. And that was the part that was like a big deal to me that went down. And then I had the blood. Then I got the test. And I'll have you know that since then they've tested me 2 more times. Ran labs and they can tell by blood work, about if you still have one or not.
Yeah.
And anyway, they've tested me 2 more times, and the last one was probably about maybe 2 months ago, and it's gone. And I'm on medication. I was on a blood thinner and all that. They took me off that because they even told me initially, "Oh, you're probably going to have to be on this for the rest of your life." And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't want to be on that stuff the rest of my life.
So
I made up my mind that I wasn't gonna.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Yeah, and that's so nice to know because I actually didn't know that you had gone back there a couple more times. I do remember you were very adamant when you texted me because I remember that text like anything. Like, you won't believe me. I remember that text. Oh my God. It was the most relieving thing because I remember you messaged me before you went there and you were like, Persis, I have this checkup and I really want them to give me good news. And I just like kind of zhuzhed you a little bit, gave you a bit of a pep talk. I was like, listen, we know the mindset shifts that we've been talking on. We know that we're starving out any attention to X, Y, and Z. And I like literally gave you some bullet points and I was like, just go in with it. With the mentality that this is no longer a thing. I'm like, you're only going to make it as big as you make it in your head. And you came back to me and you messaged me just like a couple hours later. I think I was sitting at dinner or something like that. I remember I was out for food and you were like, Persis, you're not going to believe it. I am cancer free and this is gone. And I'm like, ain't no way this man reversed his cancer in 4 days. I'm like, because I'll be honest with you, I don't mind saying this, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a very honest person as well, just like yourself. Like, I was like, maybe it's not going to work that soon. I was like, because that's really a huge, huge quantum leap. But I was like, I really hope he can do it. I really hope that they can bring back us better results. And you came to me and I was like, no way. That is so good. Like, you don't understand. I'm still in awe of this until today.
Well, I think it's, you hear this all the time, all over YouTube and from everywhere. You're the operant power and all that. And it's really true. It's hard to get your mind around that at first. It was for me anyway. But the more manifestations and things that I set out to achieve, and then it happened.
Yeah.
I don't think you can ever have enough. I think every time it builds on, it's more convincing, letting you know, wow, this is really real. This is really, I am the master of my universe. I am the emperor power, whatever you want to call it, of your reality. And it's all about your mind and your focus. And I know it's really hard to believe that. I know it was for me, even though I read tons of stuff and listened to tons of YouTubers and all that. But I don't know, it's just hard to, you read it and you really want to believe it on the surface, but there's always some sort of resistance. But with me, with that cancer thing, it was so scary because that was a real scary thing. It wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to get my SP back or something, it's not a life and death thing.
Yeah.
So being it was like that, I was really focused on, I thought, you know what, I'm going to throw all my doubts off to the wayside. And I'm just going to focus on this, like this is true. And it's your mind. I don't know what else to say more about it. It's just like, you do control your reality. Thoughts you create your own reality. And that first one was like a game changer for me. So I've had a handful of other things that I manifested after that, which were cool too. But that one was, that was a game changer for me.
That was definitely a doozy. And because it's something that sometimes just seems so real, especially when doctors are trying to tell you this, like it feels something that's almost like okay, the law may work, but does it really work over here? Like, this is what they told me. Like, they said it was a fact. They showed it to me. They told me that I have it. And one of the questions that like people want to ask is, how did you fight the worries of like the sureness that the doctors gave you? Like, did you focus and freak out a little bit on the time? Did you just stay the course? I know that you've spoken very adamantly about how, you know, the teachings and stuff like that, they're just explained in a very different way than most. But what would you say was like the thing that really helped you get over the edge of leaning into trust? I don't know. I'm guessing it's going to be like what you say is more because we were in a one-on-one container. You know, we could speak back and forth, and that probably helped a ton. But I'm wondering what else you feel, you know, could have helped you to fight the worries of how much this was like a definitive diagnosis.
Well, the coaching was a game changer because I didn't share that information with anybody.
Yeah.
And I kept it to myself, and I was worried about it, but then I shared it with you, and you know, you're coming from the perspective of you're a coach, and you know it works, and you believe it, and you've applied it in your life, so you know you're coming from that perspective, and I just believed in you, and I did what you said, and I was just focused on it because I was like, well, I don't have anything to lose, and I've got to, I wasn't going to, you know, you don't want to believe, because you hear so many nasty things about diseases, especially cancer.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's nothing but downhill from there after you find out that you have it or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to do everything you said. Yeah, the one-on-one coaching with you, hearing your voice, having somebody to talk to about it, the compassion you were compassionate with me and understanding, and you were coming from a perspective that you know it works. That's why you're a coach. You know it works.
And also the science.
And I felt that confidence, I picked up on your confidence. So I'm like, well, if you're confident about it, then I got nothing to lose. I'm going to push my doubts off to the side, and I'm going to be confident.
Yeah.
We'll be confident together.
We'll be confident together. We're going to definitely do that. And I remember one thing that's also kind of coming back to me as a form of a memory. I don't know if you remember this part of the conversation, but it's kind of coming back to me. Remember how I also on that phone call kind of sat you down, and I was like, I can tell you exactly how, you know, this probably manifested in your body. And we talked about adrenal fatigue. We talked about fight or flight. We talked about like how I also have that science background for where this even came to begin with. And you were like, this is exactly how my life has been. And you were like, I feel like in that moment, it also made sense because I could also provide you clarity for how it showed up. And I was like, listen, now that we know how it shows up, we know that we can get rid of it. And I was like, I just need you to believe in a quantum reality that like if you were rebirthed right now as a brand new version of you, like...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You remember that conversation?
Yeah,
oh my God.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah. I think that was huge.
Yeah, I know I was under a lot of stress, and my life was stressful at that point, and I was going through all those different things. And I had a lot of negative thoughts about other things, other areas of my life, and I think you're a magnet, and I think you just bring into your life if you know what you think about, you bring about, or whatever that cliche is.
Yeah.
And I was going through a lot of negative thinking, and it was a whole nother aspect of my life. Well, it had a little bit to do with health, but it was other things that were going on in my life that I just was constantly thinking about, and it was all negative stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I remember that. There was a lot of other pillars of your life that were hurting at that point in time, and it was like this was just the icing on the cake that made your circumstances very, very hard. And hopefully this motivates people that, you know, this gentleman here, he had a lot going on. And I think a lot of people just think like, the people that get these amazing success stories, their life just goes perfect. You know what I mean? They have no resistance. They have no past emotional stake in the game. There's a lot of stake in the game. But the difference between someone that gets results and someone that doesn't is you can either be focused on the circumstances that have been dealt with you, or you can be focused on how to create a new future. One is going to keep you stuck. The other one's going to give you the life of your dreams. So I've said this so many times. All manifestation is as a choice. He showed up and he chose his new reality through some of the techniques that I gave him, through some of the meditations that we did. And in 4 days, that's nuts. That's bananas.
I know. And I've had a lot of really good things happen since then, using the same principles. I was just a regular guy and had a problem. And, you know, after I got that part fixed, I just build on that. And I'm like, wow, if I can do that, I can do just about anything. Put my mind to it. So, yeah, I did those. I got like 4 other things that happened that were pretty dramatic things in my life. But
go for it.
Took like a year. Oh, you want me to go through the
go for it. List them off.
Okay. I manifested an SP of an ex-girlfriend that I had a train wreck breakup with, and I had not had any contact with her in like 2 years. And the last time we did talk, it was really bad. So, and then there was a third party involved, which was an ex-friend of mine. So that was a betrayal that you can't even understand unless you went through it. So that was like a compounded, real bad situation. Well, then I felt like I didn't get any closure on that. And I didn't think that there was no way that I would ever see her again, let alone talk to her civilly. But I used your principles and I affirmed it and thought positive about it and did everything. And the bridge, what is that? The
bridge of incidents.
The bridge of incidents. All these crazy things that I know you have in your mind where you want it to happen this certain way, but or you'd like to have it happen this certain way. But I had some really strange bridge incidences that came up, and the gist of it is we got back together. And I seen her for a month.
Yeah.
Like four weekends in a row. We had like 4 dates in a row. But then at the last of the month, I just decided that
it just wasn't for him.
I didn't want to stay with her.
Yeah.
So, but the nice thing about that was we both broke it off and we were civil to each other, and that was important to me. And we walked away from it. And we were both like civil, and it was all good.
Yeah.
So, and then the next thing after that was I manifested a amazing job opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's a 6-figure job, and I live in Michigan now, and it's the same thing I was doing here, but wasn't being paid enough. And now I'm moving to Oklahoma. Yukon, Oklahoma. I'm moving there about the end of this month, and I'm going to start a new life out there doing the same thing that I was here, but I'm making like 4 times much more money.
Love that.
So that's awesome because I really loved the job that I was doing. I was a project manager for a roofing company, and I love sales, and that's what I was doing, but I wasn't getting paid. And then so I got this job opportunity out in Yukon, and so I'm moving out there, and that was a crazy thing. And I've always wanted to move out of Michigan because I hate Michigan. Well, I like it in the summertime. It's the only other than that. I hate winter. I hate snow. The older I get, the more I think to myself every winter, what am I doing here?
That's funny.
So I manifested that. So not only is it an amazing job of making more money than I ever have in my life, but I get to move to a different state where they don't get snow. If they do, it's just very little, and it's gone like the next day. And then after that, I manifested a new girl into my life, But I want to say something about the new girl for everyone out there. When you manifest a new, I guess we'll call it SP, into your life, I learned this the hard way, and I'm trying to correct it now. Well, I will correct it. But be very detailed on what you want. And I mean very detailed from every aspect that you can think of, from a religion to things that you want in common, to what they look like, what their personality is. It's the craziest thing, because I thought I was detail oriented, and I pretty much made a list, but there were certain things I just left out because I didn't think were a big deal. Well, I manifested this new SP, and she checks all the boxes, but there's some boxes that I left out of my list, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done that.
I know. Sometimes we forget. We forget, but that's okay. And it goes to show, like, what are your non-negotiables? So I tell people all the time, like, you know what I mean? I personally feel like you should always put the things that you know you really can't do without. And sometimes it takes us getting a person in front of us to also realize, okay, I actually need more than just this list. But I love the list technique. I love it.
Yeah. And I guess you can learn as you go. I mean, yeah, there's some things I wish I would have, but I'm trying to, now I'm in the, of course you don't know that, but I'm trying to, I don't even know how you put it. I'm focused, trying to, would you call that revision, or what would you call it when you're trying to change?
I would say revision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say revision.
I'm using that.
But you're a revising master. So I'm not even concerned. You're a revising master.
I could never get tired of hearing that.
Yeah, I know, right? And then you also got your tax refund situation.
Oh, yeah, that's the big one. That's the latest one. That was huge. I had a 2020 federal income tax check, 3 years old.
Yeah.
The IRS are, don't get me started on the IRS. They got a bunch of monkeys running the show there.
Yeah.
And I had a 2020 federal tax return that I've been waiting for. And I have this woman that I go see that has her own tax business, and she's been doing it forever. So I see her and I talk to her about it, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm waiting all this. I really could use this money by the end of the month, because I'm moving and I really need this extra money. It would really help me out a lot and everything. And she goes, oh, I'm pretty sure you'll get it. Well, pretty sure wasn't good enough for me. So I was using the principles, and she gave me the IRS tax website to go there, and I had to put in some certain information, and it would tell me, it's got 3 levels. It tells you this, it's being processed. The next level is approved, and the next level is when they send it. And if you get direct deposit, it tells you what day they're sending it to your bank account.
Okay.
Well, I've been checking it every single day for like 8 months.
Yeah.
And then I said something to you about it. I texted you and asked you, hey, can I ask you something about something I'm having a difficulty with? And you said sure. And then I told you, and you had me.
I was like, there's your answer.
You had me change the words around. I didn't think I had any resistance to it, because I wanted it really bad.
Right.
But you just had me change it around my wording in it. And when I thought about it in my head, and when I would verbally say it out loud, I thought it made me feel a whole completely different from before. I wanted it so bad. And it's like, but I was coming from lack.
Yeah.
And I wanted, but you made me change it around and told me that I'm ready to receive my tax refund.
Yeah.
And within 1 week, this is the crazy thing. I've been waiting for this thing for 3 years, and then the last 8 months, I've been checking the website. Just think about that.
Yeah.
8 months. 8 months, I had the ability to check the website instead of just forgetting about it and have to call my tax lady every once in a while. I talked to you. 1 week went by, And I went to the website like I do every day, and then the second bar was lit up and it said approved, and you'll be sent the money. You'll hit your bank account on March 1st, which is today.
In Persis, we trust.
I'm like, holy crap. What?
I said, in Persis, we trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no kidding. I was like, wow. It's just so funny how just a little play on words can change your thought process, your feelings. Because I remember when you told it to me, I read that and I was like, and I said it and I thought, wow, that's way better than what I was saying.
Yeah. And the thing is, boom, it's because I know you. You're not a delusional manifester. You're not. And a lot of people aren't either. And so a lot of times I see coaches out here and I get headaches from what they say. I mean that in the best way possible. But I love that delusional manifesting is something that works for some people. And I know that a lot of people, they just coach or teach based on what helps them. But I feel like I was a person, and maybe you can relate, that never got results doing delusional manifesting, like meaning putting it in present or past tense. Never in my whole life have I manifested anything that way. And that's why I always felt so, I guess you can say, iced out or not confident in my manifestation abilities, because I can't sit here and pretend I have a phone if I do not in fact have a phone.
Know.
You know what I mean? It's like it just doesn't work for me.
It me neither, because I feel like I'm lying to myself.
Exactly.
And myself, or I guess it's your subconscious mind or whatever, yourself knows that you're lying.
Exactly.
Like I can say it. Well, for 8 months, I was saying it every time I'd go. Well, before I would check the website, I'd think to myself, it's going to be there. It's going to be there. Yeah. I have that money in the bank. It's already there. And I'm just going to I'm going to look on this website and it's, and I'd go in there and it wouldn't be nothing. Yeah. It wouldn't be nothing. I'm like,
I know. It's like you could put 8 months of effort into delusionally doing something, but if you're going against your brain's natural way of comprehension, even after 8 months of repetition, you still have empty hands to show for it. You know what I mean? It's really not always fruitful that just because someone else gets results in a certain way, you don't have to fit yourself into a box. And I hope, if anything else, I can encourage people that you don't need to do what other people do. I have manifested things now in my more elevated amount of knowledge in past, present, and future. But actually, the biggest stuff I've ever gotten in my life always came from future tense affirming, because I am just not a delusional person. That's just not the way my brain works.
Yeah, me neither. That's a really good way, an elegant way to put it. I never thought about it, but that's true. Yeah, 8 months I was like pushing really hard and it wasn't getting any results.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you gave me the other thing to say and it was like, oh, yeah, that feels a lot nice. Better. I don't feel like I'm lying to I wasn't lying to myself at that point, because you said to say, I'm ready to receive it.
Yeah.
And I was like more than ready to receive it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can get behind that feeling. I am ready to receive it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And boom, and within a week I got it.
What you could not get in 8 months, we have solved your issue in 7 days. That is the power.
I know, it's crazy.
That is the power.
And I love it. Like I said earlier, I don't think, and for the rest of my life, I'm going to use this, of course, and I don't think you can get enough manifestations. Everyone builds on the next one. It gives you more confidence so you can achieve other things. And there's always, so it is really true that you can be, do, and have anything you want.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, what do you have in terms of an advice for some individuals that may be struggling with health or wellness or just belief in the law? I know so many people want this, like, as terrible as it is to say, but it's just true, like this quick diet pill fix. But you know how vehemently against it I am. I want you to foundationally change your assumptions so that way the rest of your life goes easy. What would you say to like someone that's trying to reverse their health ailments? Where would you how would you tell them at least what type of mindset to have maybe coming into the situation? Is it just mainly being open? What is the mindset? Because I remember the mindset I advised you, but what would you give advice for individuals that may be trying to reverse health ailments or improve certain areas of their life, even if you want to include other things also?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I really believe, and I was never really, I did a little bit of that before, but I think the one-on-one coaching is huge. When you actually talk to somebody on the phone that is coming from, I mean, I could read and watch all the YouTube videos I wanted in it. And I mean, that was all good and fine, but I think it was a game changer when I actually talked to you on the phone.
Yeah.
And that just, I don't know. I mean, you can have an open mind. You can know that you're the operant power. You're the master of your universe. You can know all those things by the reading and watching videos. But everyone is different. And you give individualized coaching. So when you're talking to somebody, you have their undivided attention and vice versa. It's just a whole different thing. I think coaching is, and I never was really a coaching guy before. I thought, I can just learn what I need to. I can learn what I need to know on the video or watching free videos or blah, blah, blah. But I don't know now looking back on it, I think that coaching is priceless. I think you can move along in getting what you want by leaps and bounds if you just take the first step and get some coaching.
Yeah.
Because you told me on the phone things that I'd never seen in the video. I mean, there was some underlying things that I knew about that we both knew about, but
right. I mean, one-on-one clients will always get more knowledge and information and exclusive things. Like as an example, the meditation I gave you, the mindset shifts I gave you, that is for someone who is investing in their future. There will be some things that I will always kind of, I guess you can say, keep closer to my chest, because if I just give everybody the free content and then charge someone for coaching and I just give them the same information, there's no benefit. So although there's such a vast library of information for everybody, you know what I mean? There's no part of me that leaves out information over there. You do get more deeper, in-depth explanations, the personal one-on-one, like how you mentioned, because sometimes you can just be someone who watches videos infinitely, but doesn't know how to apply it for your situation, or maybe doesn't understand how it applies to your situation. And so it's like, that's the element of it that I think is priceless, because sure, you get some exclusive methods that nobody else gets. You get some exclusive meditations or mindset shifts or support that nobody else gets. Because although you can listen to my voice in your head all day long, I'm sure you can agree there's nothing like being able to text me and be like, Persis, what's wrong here? And being like, boom, 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 here's your answer.
Yeah, that was a big deal. I will say I'm a communicator and everybody's different, but I got so much out of coaching because I wanted to talk to you on the phone.
Yeah.
Instead of like just listen to your videos, which I did anyway, but actually talking to you, having a real live human being on the other side of the phone about stuff was a game changer in my head.
Yeah.
It made me more confident. I don't know, it was a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And I think that was the one thing that changed everything.
Yeah.
Because if I wouldn't have got coaching from you, I could have just watched your videos and 10,000 other YouTubers are doing the same thing. You can just you can jump from one to one to the next to the next to the next. But I don't know. It was just actually talking to you on the phone, and I told you what was wrong and you told me how to fix it. And I listened to what you said, and I took your advice, and boom, it worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'm a very to the point. Like, I feel like I give an excruciating amount of knowledge. I show up with an excruciating amount of confidence, and I'm like, listen, All I need is your mind to be open. And I'm so grateful and so thankful that you found me in a place in your life where you're like, Persis, just fix my problems. And I'm like, I got you. I know what to do. I know how it works. I know what's gonna, how this is gonna end up. And I know the story that's gonna come out of this. And you were just like absorbed it like a sponge. You were like, I think you really benefited out of that. And I'm glad, I'm really glad, because I don't know. It's just so amazing to me. I still think of it, and I'm just like amazed.
Another thing was cool is when I contacted you, you were pretty new.
I was.
Your whole thing was new. You had a whole different kind of structure on what you were doing with your coaching. True. I lucked out and got in it then.
Yep.
But you were still new. You in the last year, your business has exploded compared to what it was at your infancy when I contacted you.
Oh yeah.
And the nice thing about you came from, you walk the walk and talk the talk. You're not just reading stuff and trying to be a coach, but you've done lots of things in your personal life that, and you had a lot of, unsuccessful things, and you learned over time, but then you got really good at it. But your business you've done tons of things. I just found out the other day that you have a journal stuff on Amazon.
Oh yeah, I made a journal. I made like the whole manifestation equation into a journal. And I basically put my whole coaching methodology over there. Oh my God, yeah. Oh my gosh.
I mean, you've really expanded in the last year. Your coaching business exploded. I'm so happy for you that it has. I mean, no one deserves it as much as you do. You've really put a lot of time in. I know you work like 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you have any time for personal life, but I know you work a lot. I know way back when I was contacted, after we had our initial phone call, I was texting you all the time.
Yeah.
So, but you were gracious and texted me back. So
yeah, absolutely. No, I love this so much. I'm just going to ask everybody here in the chat down here, do we have any more questions for our lovely guest over here? I know we've been talking for a minute, and I feel like everybody's just in awe. So I haven't seen a whole lot of questions come through, but I feel like you've answered everything. You've answered how you did it. You've answered, what's helped you. You've talked about the implications of analysis paralysis. So I do feel like we've checked all the boxes, and I'm just so excited to put this up on YouTube for people to see, because I've always, believed in you from day one, and I'm glad that you could see yourself the way that I saw you, even in my infancy days. And I mean, he can attest to it. I was confident as ever. I didn't care if I didn't have 1,000 people following me at that time. I knew my stuff. And I just showed up, and I was like, I know that this works. Here's my medical credentials. Here's the background. Here's the science. Here's the knowledge. Here's the psychology. What are you going to tell me? Nothing. I was like, you can't tell me nothing. And
I wonder how many followers you did have when I contacted you. It wasn't nowhere near 1,000, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so. You contacted me in my baby Persis era.
Yeah.
For sure.
You were pretty new to the scene then.
All right, I think we have everything that we need. So honestly, I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you taking some time out. I know me and you weren't feeling the best today, but it really was really nice to hear your voice after a long time.
I know, you as well. Yeah, it's been an honor doing this for you. It's just the timing is right now.
Yeah, I'm happy.
It's all about timing. That's another thing I've always believed. I don't know if that's in the world of the law of assumption or not, but I've always believed in that.
No, for sure. I definitely think sometimes, timing plays a role in it, because I can also give people all the information, but they're just not ready for it. Like, they're not spiritually or consciously evolved enough to take it and apply it. So in that essence, I do think timing plays a huge role. because no matter how many resources or, explanations you give someone, sometimes they're just not ready for it yet. So in that essence, I do believe timing plays a key role, because once you come into this wealth of knowledge, and that's what I literally describe it as, it's like an encyclopedia of knowledge that's in my head that's also been translated onto the internet for everyone to benefit off of. If after seeing that body of work, you still can't do the work, then probably you're not ready to do the work. You know what I mean? Like you've got to be capable of flipping that switch and making that decision. So I am a big believer in timing, because I've realized also in my growing stages that you could actually give people everything, but they will still sometimes come up with reasons to defend why it can't or won't work. And that's how I know timing definitely. Yeah, that's how I know timing plays a role.
Yeah,
for sure.
I will say one more thing to add to what you said is, I would say my biggest advice would be, other than the coaching, is just throw all your doubts aside. You got nothing to lose. If you really want whatever you want, just throw all the doubts aside, the resistance aside, and just focus on it. And know that you are the master of your universe, and you create what comes into your life. And you just got to do. If you just do the work, you'll get the results.
Yeah.
And I never thought that I would be on a call giving a testimony about what happened to me and the 4 or 5 things that have had happen, because I was always, just like everybody else. I'm nothing special about me. I'm just a regular guy, and I had some things in my life that I didn't like and I wanted to change. And you look at the 3D, and it's like nothing changes there. You got to go by the status quo, or you're fighting against everything, and nothing works out, no matter what you do sometimes. So
I love it.
I just say throw your doubts aside and focus on and follow what you say, because it does really work. I know you probably hear that a million times, but it really does.
I promise. So. I promise. Exactly. Well, I will let you go. You have an amazing rest of your day. As always, keep me motivated with the next wins. And I'm just excited to see what happens out of this.
Okay, Persis. I will keep in touch when I make my big move to Oklahoma.
There you go.
And I start crushing it out there. I'll contact you.
You know where to find me.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye now.
Okay. So, how do we feel? Can you tell I'm glowing? I am such a person that's like, my heart feels full for other people's success. Like, that's when you know it's real. You know what I mean? That's when you know it's real. That's when you know you found the right coach. I'm just glowing for him. Like, I'm actually, like, my cheeks are warm. Like, I am so happy for him. It's just, it's completely, amazing. So amazing. That's an awesome feeling. Confused. I'm not sure where you're confused. It was pretty straightforward. Maybe you came in a little late. I bought the journal. Can we manifest other people coming towards us? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been taking your self-concept course, and it's amazing. Thank you. This story is very hopeful. It goes to show there are people out there that are definitely struggling with more difficult things. And I hope this gives people an understanding that no part of our reality is not malleable. Even in instances where we're given diagnoses from doctors and medical professions and things of that nature. How much is 1-to-1? Everything is in the bio. The journal is in the bio. The group courses is in the bio. The website is in the bio. Everything is in the bio, I promise. So anybody that is confused, probably all your answers are just in the bio. You're confused about not being delusional. Well, on this page, I'm not sure if you may be new or old, but I am educated, and I think somebody just literally replied right beneath you. highly in quantum physics. I have a degree in surgery. I have a medical background, and I have some psychology and human behavior background. I don't promote delusional manifesting. I don't say that my people shouldn't, but I feel like the individuals that find me don't find me because they want to be told to do delusional manifestation. I have, for one, as I've mentioned before, have never manifested anything in my God-given life with delusional manifesting. It never worked for me. As a matter of fact, it didn't work for me for more than 2.5 years, hence why I went on my own journey to educate myself and become my own coach. Because anytime coaches would come on the internet and say, just put it in present or past tense like how Neville spoke of, just pretend like you have it, just act as if, that never worked for me. When I say never, I mean I couldn't even manifest coins or butterflies. It just didn't work. I am too, and I think that this is a problem, and this is not, a dig at anybody, but I feel like especially medical brains, engineer brains, surgical brains, like these people that are like too logical, we can't do delusion. So then how do we manifest? Do we just not get to? So I created this page as a dedication and devotion to what used to be in my bio, which is manifestation for the overthinkers. So that's where I come from. I don't promote delusional manifesting. I say if you can do it, more power to you, but I can't. So I'm not going to talk about things that I'm not good at and that I don't succeed in and that doesn't work for me. I'm going to speak at it in all areas, and I'm going to empower people that if delusion works, go for it. If past tense works, go for it. If present tense works, go for it. Ironically enough, everybody in my world, though, succeeds in future tense, and they do it faster. Because if they don't have a cup and they tell themselves, I love having this cup. I love having this cup. It's so amazing to have this cup, and they visualize the cup and they tell themselves about the cup. They're like, but I still don't have the cup. So for them, as well for myself, it just doesn't work. It just simply, completely, and totally doesn't work. Doesn't work. But if you can get that to work, if you can pretend like, I love this cup, it's amazing, it's incredible, it's wonderful, and you can look here and still not be disappointed and still not be discouraged and still not be worried or question or doubt the process, do you. This is not me, taking a dump on anything, but this is saying like, I don't do that. I like to use science to manifest. Science to me is more reliable. Science will always be more reliable. It will always be the most reliable thing in the world. But when you affirm, aren't you delusional? No, not at all. How so? I'll give you an example. He mentioned on the call saying, I'm ready to receive something. That implies that it is not here now, nor was it here in the past. He just said, I'm ready to receive this. How is that being delusional? It's actually speaking blessings onto your life by saying, I'm ready for it. I know it's going to happen. I know it's meant to happen. I know it's destined to happen. I know the fact that I have this desire means that there's a parallel reality where this is fulfilled, and I'm following that intuition, and I'm putting my doubts in a basket on the side, and I'm just going to let them sit there. That's all. Your future tense has brought me all my manifestations and super quickly. Yeah, exactly. It just works. It just completely and totally works. So, math brain here, yeah. But at the end of the day, similar to what I mentioned to him also, you need to do what works for you. He got lost sometimes in after our coaching in trying to fit in the box that other creators make that say you can only manifest like this. If you don't put it in present tense, then you're never going to get anything. And they try to gaslight people, and they try to make their humanness wrong, and they try to make their overthinking brain defective. Over here, I'm like, everybody is welcome. You can do things in past, present, or future because we can all manifest things in an umpteen amount of different ways, and everything is subjective to the person applying it and what works for their brain. So every creator's preface for why this doesn't work in a certain way is actually baseless and false. So you can be here, you can be seen, and you can do what works for you, because manifestation is not a one size fits all in the sense of you have to do it this way, otherwise you can never be successful. You can just never be successful if you cannot get yourself into the state of the wish fulfilled. I'll be honest with you. I never believed a single thing before it came. It still came, though. It still came. It still came. It still showed up. It still showed up. Why? Because I did what worked for my brain. Now, what works for Percis's brain may be different than what works for Stacy's brain. What works for Stacy's brain may be different than what works for Dave's brain. What works for Dave's brain may be different than what works for Sally's brain. That's why when I tell you guys so often, and some individuals may not like the answer, is you need to do what helps your brain, because the only goal is to get it into your head. So if I try to tell you how I am like helping myself, which is future tense, but Jason prefers past tense, Jason doesn't need to become me to be successful. Jason is Jason. What works for Jason's brain is going to be different than what works for Dave's brain, than what works for Stacy's brain, than what works for Amanda's brain. And everybody's brain is accepted and beautiful and has a place to be seen and heard. But at the end of the day, I just hate, and when I use the word hate, you know, it's really rare that I use that word. I hate when people fearmonger and gaslight other individuals to say that if you can't do it in this cookie cutter way, it means you can't be successful. Well, my people have been successful in all tenses, so I'm curious what you have to say about that. I guess we were all just flukes. I guess we were just all exceptions to the law. Or maybe some individuals just haven't cared enough to educate themselves highly enough to be able to present their audiences and communities factual information. Because just because, and I say this with all due respect, Neville Goddard said you can only do present or past or whatever tense he said, he has said a couple of incorrect things. You know, the best way to figure out what works and what doesn't is to apply it yourself. He's also said that the brain doesn't understand negatives, yet here my people are using negatives and getting results in 24 hours. So, it's interesting. It's very interesting. All I'm saying is don't knock until you try it. Because a lot of individuals, unfortunately, aren't educated enough to speak on the things that they speak on. And if they sit and think for even a moment, we all have manifested things a million different ways. A million different ways. So that in itself proves that they maybe just don't care enough about the impact or the limiting beliefs they're pushing onto other people. He said several things that were incorrect. One of them, just to give an example, is that the brain doesn't understand negatives, which is in fact a false statement. Now, this is not me, taking a dump on Neville. I love Neville. But what I'm saying is I don't treat him like a god, because although what Neville put out there was probably about 90% accurate, there is 10% of inaccuracy that in our new day and age of technology and knowledge and science experiments that have been conducted, that he also saw the world in a particular way. And in that way, we technically all have limits, go to speak. But the point of it is, you should always, as a coach or as a leader in this community, be leading from a place of authenticity, sincerity, honesty, and constant obsession to make yourself more educated, to make yourself more knowledgeable, to make your people be able to benefit more on what you have to say, to be able to solve people's problems for overthinking, for visual, for literal, for any type of mind, because that's your job. Like, that's your only job. That's the only thing that you need to be consumed about. That's just my opinion. Is your journal as good as coaching with you? I can't afford coaching, but want something. The journal is probably the best resource that you can buy from me at this present moment in time if you cannot afford coaching. Absolutely. You're on another level, Persis. Truly grateful for you. Yes. I pride myself on that because I actually genuinely, sincerely care about people's success and feeling better and letting them know that they're infinite creatures and wanting them to win and wanting them to succeed. And I understand that they can also only understand up and until my point of knowledge. So I make my knowledge so vast and so powerful that there's no circumstance or situation that's put in front of me that I don't know how to solve instantly. Like exactly what he mentioned. He came to me and he was like, I've been working on this literally for 8 months and I got no results. As soon as he told me what it was, I'm so educated that I already knew the answer and was texting it back to him. And in a week, he used just the fixation of words that I told him to use and got what he wanted, that of what he hasn't seen in 3 years. So 3 years of just throwing something at the wall and hoping it stuck didn't work, but what I told him worked in a week. I'm consumed and obsessed with educating myself so highly that I can just be the solution for everybody's problems all at once because I actually take this seriously and I care about people. So, journal, I'm a week 2. Thank you. Okay, guys, so this is going to be up on YouTube today. It's not really a Q&A because I don't want to take away from the beautiful, success story that we have. And I don't want to make this super long because it's already over an hour. So what I will do is perhaps, later in this week or on the weekend when I'm feeling a little bit better because my head hurts tremendously right now. We can do another live that is mainly Q&A based, but I definitely don't want to take away from our star, guest today. And I will definitely put this all up on YouTube as soon as TikTok processes it. Yeah, and we can just go from there. I'm a little bit confused about how to form counter affirmations. So in the journal, there's a section where you do your numbers regarding, I guess you can say self-concept and concept of desire. And in that process, what you need to focus on is what are all of the reasons that you believe this can't be true for your self-concept? What are your weaker assumptions? What are your limiting beliefs? What are your doubts, fears, worries, or concerns, or your insecurities for why this can't work? You're going to brain vomit the undesirable things on one side of the page, and you're just going to take opposite affirmations for each and every single statement. So the journal, I find that the only individuals are confused are the ones that are just overthinking it. It literally is as simple and as clear as that. So just take it and flip it. Take it and flip it. Take it and flip it. That's it. You just need to figure out what are the beliefs that you tell yourself that are holding yourself back. And just opposite, opposite, opposite. So we will talk very soon. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you guys have learned something. And I hope you guys are super inspired by this.